Welcome back to the techno-communism conversation. I'm going to look at a few ideas today, and we'll see how it goes. Basically, I want to talk more about collaborative AI, of the kind that's described a lot on this program. I've talked about the prospect of proxy hive mind, and I know people who are, that's to say, an AI run a form of human hybrid superintelligence capable of doing tasks beyond that of the abilities of a group of people, working full time toward the same end. And I know there's a lot of AI skeptics out there. I don't fault you for saying that something like this might be more likely in 2045 than 2025, but I'm inclined to think that if you don't define superintelligence too narrowly, human beings can be doing superintelligent work basically right now or very soon, using something like a group of connected, locally local chatbots, not so different from what's coming out with Llama 3 and a few others that you can download and edit. Llama 3 is not going to be as editable as other open source options. Other open source options are better understood to me, honestly, than Llama 3, but I mentioned Llama 3 because the Meta organization and Mr. Zuckerberg particularly have said that Llama 3, when it comes out quite soon, perhaps in a matter of weeks or short months, will have the capabilities of artificial general intelligence, and clearly trying to remain competitive with organizations like Google and others who are kind of outpacing some of these other tech companies of similar scale in this AI assistant world. A few years ago, when you talked about AI assistants, you were talking about either something like Siri or something like Alexa, and neither of these are really even talked about now. Of course, they're still very much used and have a market share in their own space, but they're not really talked about now because of the use of large language models in more productive and interesting ways for generative AI. This concept of collaborative AI is maybe a next step in that trajectory, and I'm going to talk about two business plan type things that I wrote, or organizational papers for two nonprofit ideas using collaborative AI, and one that's very real that could basically be the platform for those. And the real one is called BotPress. And let's see what my notes. Oh boy. I lost my notes on BotPress. BotPress is a service that has something called Workspace, where for $495 you can use a number of services. $495 a month, which I don't have to spend on this. You can basically have a network of AI working with your team, and it has a pretty powerful capabilities. So this is a business service that's available now. Some thousands of people are using BotPress right now. It has a pretty solid following for things of this kind, and nobody's using it to, say, build a revolutionary activist network, or to build a hive mind collectivist entity as I wish to. Or maybe they are, who knows. Thousands of people using it. Someone may have this very same mandate. But it is available, and it has some of these features that I've described as a basis for this hive mind collectivist concept. So I've thought of myself as a hive mind collectivist. I want to be more connected to others than is currently possible. And the hive mind collectivist is a political profile. Doesn't effectively doesn't exist in practice today, because it's not possible to merge your thoughts and intentions with others to that degree. So I was kind of working backwards from that idea, and how would you do that without really upsetting people? And so this proxy hive mind concept of using letting the AI do all of the work, and you would just basically be getting a bunch of emails. It's a little less intrusive than, say, Elon Musk's idea for something like this, which is getting a fucking elective brain surgery, a pretty insane thing to do. Although that, of course, that Neuralace, the Neuralink company, the Neuralace style project is now in human trials with a severely disabled person. But it's something that I'll follow with great interest, but it's not something that I think is probably the most probable path forward for legitimately revolution-minded people, for reasons that should seem pretty apparent. Let's talk a little bit about these three a little bit more. The other two, one is something that I would imagine was basically organized on this principle, but working to a specific purpose, and we'll call it the Lifespan Institute. And it would be a distributed AI working for longevity outcomes and research. And I happen to believe that it will be possible in a relative a few short years to have a public health service that is able to reverse the effects of aging and cure most all diseases. And I think that this could lead to longevity escape velocity. Unfortunately, it's longevity escape velocity for mega millionaires and billionaires, people like Peter Thiel or Ray Kurzweil, who are particularly interested in this sort of thing, and a whole cast of characters besides, and not for working people who in 2024 will die. About 100,000 people will die prematurely in this so-called richest country in the world because of the for-profit healthcare system. That number used to be about closer to 70,000, but it's shot up in the COVID era, and it hasn't fallen back down, despite what MSNBC and Fox News and others will tell you. The second is networked AI for climate solutions, or NAICS, which would be similar collaborative AI agents, obviously working to reverse the causes and effects of capitalism's climate apocalypse, which of course has even more serious problems than the fascistic effects, arguably worse effects than for-profit healthcare on humankind right now. Some 45 countries have essentially a single-payer healthcare service in this world. So the United States is a rare country that has the resources, but prefers to kill people in great numbers. And that is basically because the United States has always been a fascist country, very much intent on harming black and brown-skinned folks, in continuing the project of exterminating them, which has already been done successfully so many times. You look at I was musing on my former home state of Florida, a place where throughout the course of the 1800s, many wars and conflicts occurred that were initiated by the fascist United States against Maroons, people who had escaped, Native and African people who had escaped bondage and extermination, and they were living in Florida, and the United States wanted Florida, and the United States didn't want a nation of black Indians there, so they fought no less than 3 Seminole Wars, exterminating these people. Of course, a certain percentage of the state of Florida is African American people, some of whom are descended from those people, so they were culturally exterminated. Native American groups still exist in Florida as well, but it doesn't change the fact that many hundreds of thousands of people who fit this description were killed throughout the course of the 19th century. And this and other programs of extermination and abuse were so inspired European fascists. U.S. fascists was the basis for European fascism. Hitler wrote many times that he loved what the United States had done with getting rid of Native Americans and abusing African Americans, and he didn't think that anyone would mind that he was doing it to other groups in Europe. The United States is not significantly altered from this mandate. The Native American population in this COVID era, for example, suffered a near decade reversal of lifespan, and just in the last few years, lifespan falling off a cliff, much higher than the general population. African Americans seeing a similar precipitous fall in life expectancy. This is because of policies like those that do not present an actual public health service to people, like those that do not present a housing authority and the other features of a humane and sustainable economic system. And so there's no way of talking about things like the reaching of longevity escape velocity and the maybe subsequent universal super longevity, or stopping capitalism's climate apocalypse, without talking about fascistic institutions, and of course the worst fascistic institution in history by far is the United States. You say, oh Ben, the United States doesn't call itself fascist. Hitler called himself a fascist, so how could the United States be more fascistic than Hitler? Well, that doesn't really matter what people say, it matters what they do. And the United States has done far more war crimes than the Third Reich did in their short existence. Moreover, they have managed to force the rest of the world into this thing that we face, capitalism's climate apocalypse, which we will be locked into 2 degrees of overheating in 5 years, and this will trigger a climate death spiral, runaway overheating, where human beings can no longer live on this planet. This is a near certainty if we do not get rid of U.S. fascism. The concept of AI human superintelligence, and this is why pundits and tech personalities pretend to be upset by the concept of superintelligence, because they can see that this technology is inherently socialist. They know of this ticking clock, and they want to protect the fascistic institution So they make up stories about AI being itself autonomous, or itself a danger to humanity, when of course the danger to humanity is techno-fascists, a capitalistic and fascistic, imperial, militaristic control of these sectors, and not the development of computers themselves. The idea is so silly, it almost doesn't bear repeating, but this is what some solid proportion of tech personalities have dedicated their lives to. So I'm going to read a little bit more. Today was March 1st, which was an event for life extensionists. Perhaps out of respect for the good people fighting for the movement for indefinite life extension, which, there are some good people doing that. Most of them, unfortunately, are not scientific socialists or cybernetic socialists, a subset of that school of thought. So they are going to make the problem worse for the most part, and not see that escape velocity reach themselves, because how could they possibly? They don't have $1 billion to throw at the problem. But the force multiplier of many, many people, as in the case of a public health service, a single-payer system allows people to get services that they could not buy for love or money 100 years ago, even if they have no money. That's the same force multiplier that we can see right now if we begin building public health services everywhere, and maybe even tailor certain parts of that to reversing the effects of aging using biomedical breakthroughs as they are truly relevant, which not all of the ones that are identified truly are. That's why this is sometimes thought of more as a lifestyle thing. Public health service. If you go to the public health service in most countries and say, I'd like to extend my shins. I feel that I'm a short man and I want to have this shin extension surgery. I know it's agonizingly painful. They'll say, no, you have to pay for that yourself. And most of these life extension products are viewed as either elective or highly frivolous, perhaps for good reason. But there is real work that's being done for life extension. And where's my outline? The Lifespan Initiative aims to facilitate research in longevity and extend human lifespan through the responsible use of advanced computing. Our conversation will now turn to a technical roadmap for achieving this goal, focusing on the core components of the initiative: a distributed large language model client application, an application downloaded and run on user computers to assist with research tasks, a secure communication and collaboration platform, a central server facilitating communication between clients, distributing tasks, and aggregating results, AI development framework, a set of principles and practices guiding the project through its life cycle and these functional elements, user-facing components, large language model client application, development environment. The large language model client will be developed using a secure and well-established programming language like Python, leveraging existing libraries for user interface development, secure communication protocols, data encryption. Download and installation. The application will be downloadable from the Lifespan Initiative website and designed for user-friendly installation on major operating systems. User interface. The interface will provide a clear and intuitive experience for user authentication and registration, a secure communication with the server, task selection and management, access to educational resources and community features, Users will be presented with clear and concise information about data collection, usage, and potential risks before participating. All data user will be anonymized before being incorporated into research tasks, ensuring individual privacy. Transparency and user control. Users will retain control of their data and have the option to opt out of specific tasks or terminate participation at any time. How does this work as a communication and collaboration platform? There has to be server infrastructure, cloud-based infrastructure. A scalable and secure cloud-based server infrastructure will be used to manage user interaction, task distribution, and data aggregation. This ensures reliability and facilitates accommodating a growing user base. A secure communication, implementing a secure and encrypted communication protocol for data exchange between the LLM clients and the server. User authentication and authorization mechanisms will be employed to restrict unauthorized access and ensure data security. Task distribution and management. The server acts as a central hub for distributing research tasks to available LLM clients based on computing power of the user's machine, user preferences for specific research areas, task requirements, collecting and aggregating results from various LLM clients, managing and prioritizing tasks based on project needs and progress. Collaborative learning. Federated learning. To facilitate collaborative learning among LLMs while protecting user privacy, federated learning techniques will be explored. Using this approach, models are trained on local data on user machines without directly sharing